So, Michael, on the way here, I saw this giant hoarding of Narcos Mexico, with you, of course, on one side and
Yeah.
Diego on the other.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that you would be on hoardings across the world in Mumbai?
Well, not in Mumbai, because to be honest with you, this is the first time that I'm here. We went to Singapore and then here in Mumbai, and it's a whole different world. It's amazing, but it is kind of cool to see your face with your friend, because I've known Diego for like 8 years now. It's crazier because he directed me in a movie, and now we're in this show together and we're traveling the world. So that's kind of cool.
You know what I really liked about Kiki, the character you play, is the tenacity. You can see on his face in every frame that he's not letting go of this fight. You know, I read that you said that when you're acting, you prefer to take from real life or documentaries rather than other actors. So
Yeah.
where did you find Kiki? Where did the inspiration come from?
Like you said, I was reading a bunch of things, and I was reading because, he died. You can look it on Wikipedia, Google, or whatever, but he died, so there's people that were interviewing his wife, Jaime Kirkendall, his boss, people that knew him but never interviewed him. So I said, instead of doing that, I'm just going to talk to Mika Camarena and Jaime Kirkendall, and that's what I did, because I couldn't quite figure out what made him tick, because on paper, it almost seemed like, oh, he was a super cop. And when I talked to them, they said that he was just very focused. He was a very focused individual. He was very intense, and it affected him. When he saw things that were not right, he wanted to make a difference. And so he was one of those kind of guys. He's a special kind of individual. Why they would make a show about him. And what's interesting is that Diego's character, Felix, has tenacity, and has mentally just always on the go, always wanting to make it happen. And then I think just the natural way that the characters are. Kiki, my character, is also very, has that tenacity and focus, and together I think that's hopefully what makes a good TV show.
You are, of course, of Mexican heritage, but you've grown up in America. So
Yeah,
what
that's
was
right.
it like for you to move back to Mexico to shoot the show?
What's interesting is that in America, I'm considered Mexican-American. And when I go to Mexico, I'm considered just American. So it's an interesting label limbo, right? So, and how people see you. But I have to say it was really nice because I was right by where my father grew up and where my mother grew up, and it's they grew up in very poor areas. In a weird way, it was satisfying to see how they lived, but at the same time being like, wow, they sacrificed a lot, to give us a good life.
So was it like rediscovering your own roots?
Yeah, it was. In a way, because there's a lot of people that look like me. My dad was very, fair-skinned or whatever, but, so I'm not as dark as some of the people. My mom was very dark, so you get to see like some of the North and the South, and my parents met somewhere in the middle.
I was reading this interview you did, and you were talking about when you first started as an actor, and you said that the first 10 roles would be Caucasian, the next 2 would be African American, and then the 13th would be for whatever race.
Sometime 15th and sometime not.
Right. At that time, Michael, what kept you going? What made you believe that you could do this?
Well, I mean, thank God I had music. I was in a band, Nico Vega, and they're still together, actually. And so I was doing music at the same time. And it was kind of a blessing to start off like that, because to be honest with you, everybody got typecast, and we're in a generation now where things are changing, like Latin people. It's nice to come over here and see like some of the biggest, stars in India are brown, skinned, and they're not like blonde hair, blue eyed, like.
Well, we're all brown.
Yeah, exactly. No, but if you go to Mexico, all the actors in like the telenovelas and stuff are like light skin, green eyes, and blonde hair. I'm like, what kind of Mexican is that? And it's like foreigners that come in, and, that are very light skinned, and they get all the jobs. But at least in America, it's changing. At the end of the day, it is a business, so it's whatever the people want to see, and it's good for us that now I think people are accepting and they want to see different kinds of stories and different people in them.
Yeah. And is it true that if your character's name is not Latino, you ask for it to be changed?
Yeah, you know what? I think that it's important because if say it was an Indian actor, and went to America and started getting parts, and then all of a sudden there were John Roberts, which happens, and sometimes you get more work. I wouldn't feel good about it, me particularly, just because it's like the times are changing and there's more Latinos getting jobs or whatnot. So I feel like it's kind of like in my duty. And what's cool is that, like Netflix, for instance, like they asked for a show to be in Spanish. You know what I mean? Like I think that's really cool. Like half Spanish and half English. And then they contacted Eric Newman, and Eric's like, oh, I think I got something. And it was a movie at the time, and he changed it to be a series. And kudos to Netflix, because not everybody was thinking like that.
You said also that before, this was before Narcos, that Luis in AntMan was the hardest character you ever played.
Yeah.
Does Kiki sort of give him competition?
I grew up mainly doing drama, so it's not that I'm more comfortable with it, but I feel, well, maybe I am more comfortable with it, because the character in AntMan, he had to talk very fast, and he had to say a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff I made up, but a lot of it was written, and so the Marvel team did a fantastic job with it. But it was definitely tough because for me, I don't just do comedies, so making people laugh is a pressure. I remember my first comedy role. The thing that I was known for was Crash. So they're like, oh, the guy from Crash is funny? Let's see. And so it was, yeah, but I haven't done that many comedies. That's why it's a little bit of pressure.
You've also compared acting to chess. You say that, you have to, what you do now will impact 3 moves down.
Yeah.
But what does that mean when you're actually on the floor doing in the middle of the shoot? What does that mean? Are you thinking 3 scenes down?
I read the entire script 20, 30 times or something, just so that you know the script, because the producer and the director, they all know the story very well, right? And so there's some things that you can kind of put the seed in, right? Like say that there's a look with somebody who's a neighbor, and then you share a look that's maybe not written, but then you know that like in 10 scenes he helps you out a little bit. And then so like the second time that you see that person, it's a, like say it's just a scene that I'm like, I have to leave, right? Oh, he dropped, I was like, it'd be cool if he dropped something and then I pick it up and then I kind of help you. No, whatever. And then that way the third time you see him and he helps me, it's motivated. So like...
You're seeding it.
Yeah, you're seeding it. You're planting the seed, So sometimes I do that, and sometimes, a lot of the times the directors and producers and things like that will say, yeah, that's cool. But it's just collaborating, you know what I mean? That's what's really fun about working on something like Narcos.
And I've seen you referred to as Hollywood's biggest Latino star. That's gotta feel good.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think Diego's he's a Latino, and Damian Bichir and Javier Bardem and Gael Garcia. I think that there's like a school of actors, of Latin actors that are having somewhat of success. I think financially it's just got to catch up a little bit.
Thank you, and have a great visit in India.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.